my advice for myself when I'm having a bad day, I think I have a few, and I think it also depends on the kind of bad day, because there's the bad day when something bad happens, and like because of that you feel bad. So, but there's the other type of days when everything is great, everything's good. I think it depends on the kind of bad day. So there are like bad days when something bad happens and there's like a reason, or like there's a reason behind my sadness. So when that happens, I usually just tell myself that it's okay, that not every time everything's going to be all right, and sometimes we fail, and to allow myself to not be perfect all the time, because I think like sometimes I can be very hard on myself. If I really screw it up, then sometimes I punish myself a little bit, and I think it's good because I need to learn. But there's this other type of bad days, and I think those are the hardest, like when everything is all right, when everything's perfect, and still I'm having a bad day, when nothing is wrong in my life, and it's, I think that's what makes me more mad with myself, when there's no, I don't know, there's no reason behind it, because it's like I think about my life, and I think about how privileged I am, and how I'm out here living my dream, and something that I work for my whole life, and at the same time I cannot be happy, and I'm still having bad days. So I when that happens, it's a bit harder, but my advice for myself is always like, it's not gonna be forever, and it's not your fault, because it's not my fault. It's not my fault that something in my brain doesn't work all the time. So I think like forgiving myself is my first advice, and then second, I try to do things that I know always work for me to make my day a bit brighter, and especially quicker to just get over. See?
And are there any actions that you take?
Yeah, so I have a few like tricks for myself that I like to do. I think some of them are healthy, and some of them are unfortunately unhealthy. One of the healthy things that I like to do is take a moment for myself, and this is my safe place. Well, more than welcome. And I like laying in my bed a lot. I like reading. I'm also very spiritual. I don't consider myself to be very religious, even though I practice a few religions. So I was raised Catholic, and now I'm exploring the Mormons. And also, like, sometimes I like learning about other religions and stuff, because I think when I'm closer to God, I feel better. And I don't agree with like the rules of religions and like all the horrible things that they stand for. Like, don't take me wrong, but the relationship with God that I have, I think, is very, very important. So I like reading the Bible. I like praying. I also like reading for pleasure. There's one like funny thing that I do is, and I think that's maybe like come from mommy issues, or I don't know, but like I like laying down in fetal position. It really makes me feel like warm and like hugged, and it reminds me of my mom, and reminds me of like people that love me and like they take care of me, and even though they're not here because they're back in my hometown, when I'm like in fetal position and like hugging myself, it makes me feel, I don't know, like protected or safe. I like drinking tea, like things that makes me remind me that I'm alive and I'm safe and everything is all right. And some of the unhealthy things that I do is I smoke a lot. It helps me with anxiety. I think it also helps me with depression. And yeah, I'm gonna show you, but I tend to just like be on my own, go for a walk, and just smoke and talk to myself. So, yeah.
And so in the video, we're gonna So the first part of the video is showing like the negative coping skills, and then the positive coping skills.
Oh, nice.
So we'll film whatever you're comfortable with.
Okay, yeah.
Amazing.
I mean, also another thing that helps me, but it's not something that I do. Well, yeah, I do it, but it's not something, I don't know. Anyway, I take antidepressants, and I think that has saved my life. Honestly, like, I think that's the best thing in the world. Like, always go to your GP. Don't like self-medicate yourself, and like always be in control. Go to therapy and things like that. But honestly, I think it has saved my life. Like, it changed my life completely. Like, it make me feel better. Obviously, because it's a chemical reaction that works in my body, but also because it made me realize that it wasn't my fault, that it was something that was wrong in my brain, and there was nothing that I could do. Like, even if I tried my hardest, like, it will never be enough, because it is a disease. So it's not something about my personality. It's not something that I like being sad. It's just it's a disease. Like, and like any disease, you need to try it, and you need to try to cure yourself with medicine. So yeah.
And so if you're having a bad day in the future and you're looking back at this video, if you want, I could send you the whole video.
Mm-hmm.
Is there something that
would be nice?
Okay, is there something that you would like to tell yourself?
Okay. Dear Pris, you're okay. You're safe, and especially never forget that it's gonna get better. And I know it doesn't look like it right now, and I know life can be too much, because sometimes it is too much. But remember that you are capable to do whatever you need to do, whatever you want to do, and you have an amazing, you're so privileged. Never forget that you're so privileged. You have an amazing support group. You have the best friends in the world and the best family in the world, and your mom and your dad and your sister and your brother are here for you, and you cannot fail them. You cannot die, and it's gonna get better. Just give yourself permission to have a bad day or even a bad week, but never forget that in the end you have to stand up, and you have to try again, and you have to change, and you have to transform. So, yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit more about the tattoo?
Yeah. So I saw this drawing on Pinterest after I broke up with my ex-boyfriend, and I was feeling very lost. I was feeling very, very lost, because he's an amazing human being. It's not like, oh, he did me wrong and so I'm mad. Like, it was nothing like that. It was just like I fell out of love, and I found myself being lost, and I was feeling very guilty because of that, because there was no reason behind changing. And then I realized that it's just part of life. Like, you have to transform yourself. So I was on Pinterest, and so basic, but I read this poem and this drawing that saying that this triangle with exactly this line in here means transform, and it also looks like a pizza. So I found it very funny, because I knew everyone was gonna think that it's like a pizza, but I know it is not. So sometimes when I'm feeling like, oh, I'm changing, and like, oh no, I want to be the way I was before, I look at it like, no, it's okay, you're just transforming. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you. Now, if it's okay, I'm just gonna film a little bit your hands.
Yeah.
We could just talk about anything, because you had like cool hand movements when you were.
Yeah. So yeah, I can tell you about anything. You're not feeling my voice, right?
I could turn it off.
Yeah.
I'll turn it off here.
No, because I'm not saying anything interesting. It's just
well, you might say, so I might as well.
Oh no, you can turn it on if you want to. But I find it very funny, because when I started therapy with my psychologist, she would always tell me, like no, she was once she told me like, oh, you're suffering from depression, and I was like, no, there is no way. Like I have suffered from depression in the past, but right now I'm just like a bit sad, you know. And she was like, no, you're moving your hands quite a lot, and I was like, and I became like super self-conscious about it. So every time I would go to therapy, I would be like, move your hands. And she told me like, come on, like it's okay, it was just like a comment, like it's alright, like you're very expressive. So I find it funny that you told me that I move my hands a lot, because yes, I do.
Oh, I like to film people's hands, because it kind of works when people's hands are we're always expressive.
Yeah, and also like I do this a lot. People always make fun of me because I do this all the time, like, oh, are you cool? It's like, no, I don't know. I just like feeling my hands, I think.
Yeah, it's like being alive, I guess.
Yes, that's true.
But she said that because you're moving your hands, that means that you're depressed?
No, that I was anxious. I'm sorry.
Oh.
That I was very anxious. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's fair. I mean, it makes sense.
I guess animated.
She wasn't a great psychologist.
I know. Oh, do you want to give a piece of advice about therapists?
About therapists? I can give advice about therapy. It's the best. It's the best thing in the world. I've been in therapy since I was a kid, because I don't know. I think it's common in Mexico to go to therapy. If you're like in private school, like you have a therapist in school. So yeah, and I hated it. Everything about it, I hated. I went to like 10 psychologists. And I was like, no, this is just making me feel worse, or like they're not even listening to me, blah, blah, blah. And I was like I didn't like it. And there at some point in my life, I wanted to kill myself. And I knew that I didn't want to die. I just wanted to hurt myself. And I was like, okay, no, but I don't want to die. So I researched, I asked a friend that I was studying in the... He was studying psychology, and I asked for a recommendation. So she recommended me this girl. She's amazing, and I started therapy with her. And since the first time that I met her, I was like, oh, this is what therapy is about. You know, like, okay, like I now want to go to therapy on my own, and I want to be better. I don't want to die. And I think that was the difference between me in the past, when I used to go to therapy because my parents asked me to, or because someone recommended me to, or like because I was having trouble, so therapy was the thing to do, you know. But I was very close of the idea of going and like open myself to someone. So when it was my idea, when I really wanted to be better and like, you know, improve myself, that's when I started to enjoy it. And it helped me a lot. And then at some point my problems were getting bigger, and I was getting like more sick and stuff, and my psychologist was like, okay, I think this is getting like out of my hands. I think you should go with a psychiatrist, which I was super scared of that idea, because psychiatrist means crazy, you know. Like psychologist is like, oh, okay, you care about mental health, but psychiatrist is like, oh no, like you're going to the hospital and you're gonna start taking meds, and like you're gonna get addicted to them, and you're gonna gain weight, and like there's like a lot of taboo behind it. So I was like, no, I'm not going. And she was like, okay, think about it. And after like a month, there was some point when she was like, okay, I'm not gonna book your next appointment until you book an appointment with a psychiatrist. Like, you need to force yourself to do it. So I was like, okay. So I started therapy with a psychiatrist. In the beginning, it was a bit hard because he was very focused on trauma. And with psychologists, it was more like improve yourself and what makes you feel better, and like look yourself in the mirror and tell yourself like 5 things that you love about your body and things like that, like very positive. And with the psychiatrist, it was like straight to the point, like let's fix the things that are not working. And yeah, and then I remember one time when I was with psychiatrist, and I left, and I was crying so hard, and I felt like a 1,000 needles on my heart, like it was hurting so much. But at the same time, I was feeling better. So I was like, what's this? Like, what's this trick? What's this magic? Like, it hurts, but I know it's for good, you know. And the next day, I started to feel like the weight on my shoulders, it was disappearing. And I don't know, like, I think apart from meds, therapy it's is what saved my life also. I think the fact to give your voice like enough value in order to know that it's worth to say the things that you feel, to say the things that you think, I think is the first step. Sometimes we think like, oh no, it's stupid, it's just a bad day. But like, no, when you start to realize like, no, I am worth something, and my voice is worth something, and my feelings are worth something, I'm not bothered to have a person listen to my problems for an hour, you know. So yeah, go to therapy.